The story of Nelson Mandela, from prisoner to president. Nelson Mandela is remembered around the world as a symbol of freedom, justice, and peace. But behind that global icon is the story of a man who endured 27 years in prison, crushing injustice and personal loss, yet emerged without hate, with a heart full of hope, and a mind focused on healing his country. A childhood in divided South Africa. Mandela was born in 1918 in a small South African village. Growing up under apartheid, a brutal system of racial segregation, he saw firsthand the suffering of black South Africans. They had no voting rights, were forced into poverty, and had no freedom of movement. From a young age, Mandela knew he couldn't accept this system. He studied law and became an activist, then a leader in the African National Congress, ANC. His mission? Freedom and equality for all South Africans. But that dream came at a price. Scale imprisoned for his beliefs. In 1962, Mandela was arrested for organizing anti-apartheid protests. He was sentenced to life in prison and sent to the infamous Robben Island, where he spent 18 of his 27 prison years. He was locked in a tiny cell, forced to break rocks under the hot sun, and denied visits from his family. Many of his fellow activists were tortured or killed. Yet Mandela never gave up. He kept studying, kept teaching, and most of all, kept believing. He once said, "I am fundamentally an optimist. Whether that comes from nature or nurture, I cannot say. Part of being optimistic is keeping one's head pointed toward the sun, one's feet moving forward." Freedom and forgiveness. In 1990, amid growing international pressure and resistance movements, Nelson Mandela was released from prison. But the most remarkable part of his story wasn't just that he was freed, it's what he did after. Instead of calling for revenge, Mandela called for peace. Instead of fighting back with violence, he preached reconciliation. In 1994, just 4 years after his release, he was elected South Africa's first black president in a free election. He could have divided the country. He could have punished those who oppressed him. But instead, he brought people together, famously saying, "As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew that if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison." Legacy of a leader. Mandela's legacy lives on far beyond South Africa. He became a global icon for peaceful resistance, forgiveness, and unbreakable spirit. He won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993 and inspired generations of leaders, activists, and everyday people to stand up for justice. Lessons from Nelson Mandela's story. Your circumstances do not define your destiny. Forgiveness is the strongest form of power. Real leadership means uniting, not dividing. Patience, courage, and hope can outlast any injustice. The best victories come not through vengeance, but through vision. Why this story inspires. Mandela lost almost 3 decades of his life to prison. He missed watching his children grow up. He suffered, yet he came out stronger, more peaceful, and more determined than ever. His story proves that no matter how long the night, the sun will rise. That true power is not in fists, but in forgiveness.